Hey everybody, Dr. Dan here. Hey, just wanted to continue on bringing you guys some videos this month, talking to you guys about chiropractic in kids and why it is that people bring their kids to us on such a regular basis. And one of the topics that I definitely wanted to touch on this month was the topic of ear infections. I know that it's something that plagues a lot of families out there, their young kids being kind of stricken with this chronic issue of ear infections, one after another, doses of antibiotics, issues, fever, all of these different things, and it just seems to be like a chronic thing, and people do bring their kids to us a lot for that problem. So I wanted to touch on that and just kind of talk to you guys about how it all works and how chiropractic in many cases can help with that in a much more natural way. So number one is, when you're dealing with a really simple analogy that I want you guys to think about when you're thinking about ear infections is the idea of like a clogged sink, okay? With an ear infection, most of the time the issue is that the fluid and the bacteria or the viruses that are, they're in our system, they are not draining out of the ear canal the way that they're supposed to. Most of the time this is due to tension and torsion in the upper cervical spine that kind of puts a lot of pressure onto the eustachian tubes and doesn't allow for that fluid to drain out of the ear canal properly. So in many cases, realigning the upper portion of the spine takes pressure off of those eustachian tubes and allows for that fluid to drain out properly. That in and of itself, most of the time, is what allows their bodies to just kind of start kicking back into gear and fighting the infection, draining out that fluid and allowing things to work the way that it's supposed to. Also, from the perspective of the immune system, we know without a shadow of a doubt that making sure that there is no pressure on the nervous system, especially at the area of the brain stem up at the top part of the spine, allows for their immune systems to work at a much, much higher level, which of course is incredibly important when you're talking about fighting off a virus or a bacteria, okay? So those are the two primary ways that that chiropractic helps with these chronic ear infections that kids seem to have. A couple other things I wanted to touch on though is why is this happening, okay? Well, number one is that upper neck misalignments at the top part of the spine are becoming more and more prevalent in younger kids as we're seeing more and more intervention in the birthing process, okay? Decades ago, there wasn't a whole lot of intervention in the birthing process. Nowadays, we have 50% C-section, we use vacuum extraction, we use forceps, we use all of these different things, we induce labor, we do things to try to make this process quote unquote easier and safer, things of that nature. But in the meantime, it does a lot to put pressure on the child's neck and upper cervical spine. So that in and of itself is causing these things to happen more and more frequently. Also, the common treatment for ear infections, as most of you probably know, is to, number one, start on antibiotics. With these ear infections. The issue with that is that a lot of times ear infections are not caused by bacteria, okay? So, unless you've, your physician has done a culture, there's some way to show that there's a bacterial infection in there. Many times it's not even necessary. These ear infections can be caused by viruses just as often as they can be caused by bacteria. And obviously an antibiotic, something used for bacterial infections, is not going to be helpful in a viral infection situation. So another thing to keep in mind, obviously if they become more chronic, then the next step would be to place ear tubes into the ear canal to try to help with drainage. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions with these ear tubes as well. I think a lot of times people think that that is going to be the solution, that's going to be the answer. The truth of the matter is that an ear tube does nothing to address the cause of an ear infection. Sure, it might relieve a little pressure, it might help with some drainage artificially out of the ear canal, but the infections are still there. Like, the infections are still becoming present, and so we need to deal with the underlying cause. And a really simple way to think about this is if you've ever had a clogged drain, like in your kitchen sink, okay? Your drain is clogged and the water is backing up. So you have a couple of options there. You can pour some bleach into there and it would kill all the bacteria that's present, but it really does nothing to drain the fluid out, okay? Drain the water out. You can maybe open up the window over top of your sink to try to get rid of some of the smell that's kind of like backing up as the water sits there. But the truth of the matter is what you need to do is unclog the drain, okay? And that's what we're talking about with chiropractic, is making sure that those eustachian tubes are wide open, the body is able to drain properly, and then turning the immune system on so that the body can fight those infections and make sure that things are working the way that they should. So I hope that helps you guys understand a little bit more about chiropractic and how it can help with ear infections. If you have any other questions, please let us know. Again, we love you guys and we appreciate you. Let us know how we can help you. Thanks.